Were you angry when you started comedy, or did that like develop? Like, did you have that tension when you got up
Not
there
on
from the
stage,
beginning?
I wasn't, but I also I was completely not aware of who I was when I thought I thought I was fine. I thought my childhood was fine. I thought everything was fine, and I
Right.
got on stage, and then gradually, the events that happened preceding my career started. The waves started crashing on the beach, basically, and where I ended up going in life and where the fuck I was at. I got really angry towards in my 30s, and
Who'd you get angry at?
I was just mad at the world. Like I was an angry guy. I wasn't like literally mad at the world. I was just reacting in anger and everything. And it was like your 20s to me are like you're just taking out your childhood on the world because you don't know what you're doing. You just left your parents' house and now you're just reacting, to whatever happened, good or bad. And then like in your 30s, that's when as an adult you have to start fucking looking back at yourself. And that's when I started, I think when I was like 35, 36, and I was single again. I'd fucked up another relationship, and I was sleeping on a futon.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, doing the whole pity party thing, and chicks are fucked up, and this business is fucked up, and blah, 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 and all that. That was sort of...
It's never you. It's everything around you.
Yeah.
That's all fucked up.
That's when I started to look inward. Continued to fuck up for another 5 years, 6, 7, 8 years, but it started tapering back down. Like it was sort of a gradual ascent of fucking up and then descent. Where now,
so it wasn't like comedy. It was like it was everything in your life, and then a lot of times the anger would just come out on stage.
Yeah. Well, actually being on stage was kind of the place where, believe it or not, I was the least angry. A lot of times, sometimes you're on stage too, and if you're yelling or you're doing these characters, people think that you're mad while you're doing it. They don't realize that you're having a great time.
Right.
But I think it just, it's sort of 41, 42 was when it peaked, and I started to kind of turn it around.
It gets exhausting after a while. Being angry a lot, it's like, ugh.
And I always read it's the most immature, knee-jerk emotion to have. It doesn't solve anything, and it's a really immature way of handling shit. It's funny to watch.
Yeah, it's great.
Somebody losing their shit. And I actually get a charge out of watching people lose their shit because I so relate to it. But
it's when you take it home with you and it's in the car with you. It's just toxic and it's always there. It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I grew up around a lot of volatile people, and you think in your head, I'm never doing that. I'm not going to associate with people, blah, 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 blah. And then what it is you go out in the world, and unless you've really worked it out, you just gravitate towards what is natural, which is why, all of us lunatics, I think, because I think now, like, we have really healthy back and forth. But when I look back at a lot of that shit at the table, a lot of that was not healthy. Where we were sitting there going, we're toughing each other up to go on stage.
But it was really just all your anger and
I
insecurity.
used to fucking go, and him and Patrice and Keith and all those guys would be down there. Like, I remember I would be thinking about their faces and everything, and I would try to come up with like 3 or 4 fucking jabs just so I could get to the seat, so I could sit down. And it never dawned on me when it wasn't working for me, because I was really angry back then, to just be like, why don't you just not go there? Why don't you just sit down at another table? Because the way I grew up was that's what everybody did to everybody. So that was the Thanksgiving table, dude. Like when I look back at that, we were just, the broken toys just fucking beating the shit out of each other. I mean, it was fucking... It was fun, it was definitely fun, but there was definitely times where, you and I got into real arguments. Sure. Me and Patrice got in real arguments. You got into it with people. Bobby got into it with people. Like, it would then...
Me and Bobby had a real one recently. We were yelling at each other for
That's
something.
part of being friends with Bob, though. You know that's going to come.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing Bobby's good at. He calls you, like, dude, look, man. And he calls you the next day. Like, he reached out, and I guess...
You want to hear one of the best Bobby Kelly stories I have? One time we were taking the subway uptown, and he was talking about the business and everything. And I thought I was actively listening and going, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I don't know what I was doing. So he was going to help me with my computer. So he was going to my apartment. So we were walking down the street. It's like the middle of the afternoon. And in my head, I must have tuned him out, because I started thinking like, well, this is fucked up, because he used to live right next to me. He's going to go all the way up to my apartment to fix my computer. Why don't I just run up and get the computer, and I'll bring it down to his. I was trying to make his life easier. Right. So I was thinking about that which goes back to the whole Catholic guilt of like, oh, somebody's going to be handling my needs. I can't. I got to be more ingratiating.
Can't just
so I
accept
I guess I wasn't listening. I have no idea. So he was in the middle of talking, and as he was talking, I just go, "Hey, Bob, I'm just going to run up and grab a pew." And the top of his lungs, broad daylight, with buildings on either side, so it echoed. He just goes, "Don't interrupt me, cunt!" at the top of his fucking lungs. Like, dude, I'm telling you, when I tell you, dude, out of fucking nowhere, like he was totally talking. My agent, I just feel like they're not sending me out enough, and I just say, "Hey, Bob," and he just fucking went from 0 to 1,000, and people like strollers fucking looking around and shit, and I just looked at him. I just actually for some reason, because I was getting older, then I just remained calm. I just said, "Bob, I thought we were past this." And then he sort of had a smirk on his face, and then it just sort of just stopped. And then we went up, we fixed the computer, but it was still dysfunctional because I don't think we quite addressed it.
Right.
But I just said, I thought we were past this. And then he tried to still kind of, and then he just had nothing because I didn't react to it, and the whole fucking thing went away. But it was just like,
that's great.
That's
great.
Yeah, dude, I'll never forget that, man. We were right. I remember exactly where the fuck we were. Not even you fucking cunt. It was so like, "Don't interrupt me, cunt!" And it just fucking like, I mean, it probably made it to the Hudson, dude. It was amazing. It was actually, it was a performance piece. So I whenever I look back on it, I always laugh. And then I'm also like going like, I can go. Like I went 0 to 1,000. Like I'm really good with traffic now, but like when I was just like watching this fucking thing as it's getting you there. Like it's the mistake I always make. I put in Sirius XM, and for my place it said it's going to take 31 minutes, but I forget that's at 8 o'clock, and then I leave at 8:15, and now it's saying 40. I'm like, oh fuck, now I'm not going to get there until like 8:50, and then you're driving, then it starts going 8:51, 8:52, 8:51, 8:54, 9 o'clock, 8:50, and then it just starts building up. I just started thinking, like, I finally was just able to say in my head, like, if I get there at 9:05, are they really going to fucking flip out? I mean,
fine.
We're going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine.
Wait, what did Bobby say to you? What did Bob say when you asked him to go up and get your computer?
when you were like, "Hey, I'm just going to go upstairs and get the computer."
Oh, don't interrupt me, cunt!
That's going to make me laugh all day.